Happy New Year! Hey, how are you? How are you? This is Carol Freeman. Did you know who you're watching live right now? Let's hang out here for a little bit. Welcome everyone as the algorithm catches up here. Let's see if we can get some people live watching. Hello. As you're joining us, just pop a comment in there and let me know you're watching. I can see that somebody is watching. I can't tell who they are though until they actually comment. So let me know you're here. Where are you joining us from? Let's hang out here. So welcome everyone. Happy New Year 2021. Can you believe it? We made it. And welcome to our info session. I am Carol Freeman. All right, we got some people popping in here. We got Breanna. Hello Breanna. And we've got Christy. Hi, Christy. Welcome, everyone. And Christy's in Virginia. Excellent. How's the weather this time of year in Virginia? I'm in Phoenix, Arizona. I moved here about 6 months ago. And today we're hitting, the last time I looked, it's about 55 degrees. So, but it's blue, sunny skies. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Excited. And this person, I think, is in the Facebook group. And so there's a thing at the above that you can click on that will let you let me see what your name is. So unfortunately, I can't see who that is, but you can also just say, you can also type your name in there and then I can see it. We've got Karen, excellent. And Brianna's in Chandler. Oh my gosh, she's my neighbor. Hey, Breanna, how's it going? All right, and so, hey, Christy says, some days are beautiful, some cold and rainy. So she's in Virginia. Excellent. I've never been. The only West Coast part of this country I've been to is in Florida, which I've been told is not, East Coast is not considered part of the East Coast. It's just, Florida's its own place anyway. So welcome as you're joining. Just pop in the comments, let me know you're there and tell me where you're joining from. I can see that we have a lot of people joining us right now, but I can't tell who it is until you actually comment. So welcome. Again, I am Carol Freeman and let's see. Michelle is here from Seattle. Yay, Michelle. I'm so glad you made it. Excellent. So I'm here to share with you. We're going to do our little info session about my program that's really fun. It's called the Get Unstuck Keto Program. It's one that I designed and we launched it last year. We run it a few times a year as a booster program. So my some of my existing clients will run through it as like an extra booster shot, fat loss accelerator. Also, I have people that have never done keto have done it. That's an adventure for them. Also, people that have been doing keto on their own and they're just stuck for various reasons, right? So you're in the right place if you're stuck on keto because you just don't even know where to get started. You're overwhelmed, you're confused. That's one way you're going to be able to get stuck here. I'm going to share with you all about that. Another way that you're stuck is that maybe you've lost some weight, you've had some success, but you've hit a plateau and you're stuck. You don't know what to do next. You don't know more protein, less protein, higher fat, less fat, more exercise, join a new Facebook group, change your macros for 100th time. So that's another way you're in the right place if you're stuck that way. Additionally, if you had the stuck where maybe last year's quarantine or current quarantine threw you off track. You'd had some success. You started gaining a bunch more weight. And maybe you're up higher than when you even started keto in the first place, and you're really stuck with your motivation. How do I get back on track? How do I get back the momentum that I had before? So those are kind of the primary three things that I see people are stuck on keto, especially at the beginning of the year, but it can be any time of the year as well. So again, if you're just joining us, pop in the comments. I can't tell who's watching unless you actually share a comment. Let me know you're watching and tell us where you're joining from too. So again, info session here. I'm here to share with you. Again, Carol Freeman is here. And if you don't know me, let me just share a little tiny bit of my backstory. I am actually a board certified keto nutrition specialist. I am a credentialed healthcare provider in Washington State, which is where I have lived up until about 6 months ago, and now in Phoenix, Arizona. And also as a national credential, I have a board certification, which means a medical board has certified me to be an expert in keto nutrition. I specialize primarily in working with women who are in the 40 plus age range, and they're looking at keto as a long-term sustainable lifestyle. They're already sold on keto. They know keto is the way for them. They're just looking for some support, accountability, motivation, clear, easy steps in order to get those results. I also have a unique training and background. So not only am I trained in nutrition, but I have a master's degree in clinical health psychology. So it's so important to address both the psychology side of this as well as the nutrition side. So that's what's really unique about the approach and that I have is that I've been studying for as long as I've been studying nutrition, also what causes cravings and how do we get rid of them? What can help us naturally regulate our appetite without having to count calories forever and ever and ever? How do we actually make change in a way that's sustainable? How many times in the past have you followed a diet and you could stick with it for 2 weeks or a few months or something like that, but next thing you know, a year later, you've back to your old eating habits and you're wondering why you couldn't stick with that. So, okay, we've got Jen joining us here. Hi, Jen. Glad you could be here too. Jen is one of my newest peer support coaches. So excited she can be here to learn more about this too. So which of those stucknesses do you think you are? So again, let me share with you like the 3 types of stuck. Like, you know, you're in the right place right now. If you're any of these three, my fingers are very short. So even when this one's folded, it looks like it's the same length as the other one. So I have genetically tiny hands. I'm not a small person, but my fingers for some reason, our family are very short. So here's the 3 different types of stuck. Share with me like which one that you most identify with, or maybe all 3 of them. Okay, so one type of unstuck is you've never really done keto. You really want to try it. You're just stuck in trying to figure out how to get started. That's number 1. Number 2 is you've had some good success on keto, but you've reached a plateau where you don't know what to do next. What do I change? How do I get going? How do I break through this stall or plateau? How do I get off the last 5 or 10 or 15 pounds? That's number 2. And number 3 is the oops stuck, where you have slipped off track. You've fallen back into old habits. You've started to regain the weight and you're stuck trying to get your motivation back to get back on track. So just let me know which of those 3. And again, you can pick more than one. Also, you know, maybe you're a combination, or maybe, you know, one of them kind of, you know, it's partially right. So share with me in the comments which one of those that you feel like best fits where you're at on your keto stuckness. All right. So, okay, Breanna's number 1. Excellent. So cool. Never done keto or ready to kind of look a little bit more at exploring that. Christy says she just finished my 7-day meal plan, finally lost weight. Yay, that's so great. Tried keto on my own, didn't gain, but getting nowhere. Okay, so that's kind of a, let's see. So that's probably a 1-ish, 2-ish then. So excellent. Okay, I'm at Cincy Gal. I'm going to guess that's how you say that. Cincy Gal 4, an oops stuck. So that's a number 3. All right. Karen, New Year boost. Excellent. Yeah, maybe that's a number 4 spot, Karen, is that like, you're just ready to take your keto to the next level. Okay. So I think a lot of my clients are probably in that place where they've had good success. They may not necessarily be stuck. They're just ready to take things to the next level. So I'm adding that. Good job. That's a 4th one, is like, hey, I'm just ready to start sprinting and training for a booster here. Michelle, interested in trying keto. So she's number 1. Excellent. And, Cincy Gal 4, meeting keto, but too much food. Okay. So, that maybe, I might consider that maybe like a number 1 is like, 1-ish, is you're just trying to figure out how to do keto the right way. And Elaine gained in 2020. So I'm going to give you a number 3 then, Elaine. So glad you're back. Elaine's already, on board here. So excellent. Super Shep 76 is a number 3. So that's like lost my motivation. I'm stuck with how to get back on there. Carrie in Colorado. Welcome. You guys have a lot of snow where you're at. And then Jen is a next level. So I'm giving that a number 4. I added a new category here of like just ready to take things up to the next level. Excellent. Ooh, this is fun, you guys. Thanks so much for sharing. Thanks for helping me have fun here today. So, let me share. Okay, so I did share a little bit of my backstory. Let me share how this program came to be. And then I'll share, so I've shared like the 4 types of people this is a good fit for. I've shared a little bit of my backstory. And well, let me tell you a little bit more of my backstory, okay? And then I'll share with you how this program came to be. So I went to school. I have 2 nutrition degrees. I have a master's in psychology. I have a clinical certification in hypnotherapy. I was looking to solve this problem of how do we lose weight and keep it off, ladies, right? That was my passion in life. It still is. And so I've trained at the best schools in what we knew at the time to be the best way of helping people be whole and healthy. Now, I learned in school that basically there wasn't much hope in helping people really keep the weight off. So the best thing to do is just help them give up on dieting and learn to love their body as it just got bigger and bigger over time. Okay, that's kind of sad, but I embraced that. I started to gain a lot of weight through school. I came out 5 years of school. So all those degrees I got took me 5 years consecutively of school. And I came out with the belief that helping people follow diets caused eating disorders. And even though they progressively got less and less healthy and more overweight, that was better than the mental torture of putting somebody on a diet. Okay, so that was really sad. It was kind of dismal. Like, who wants to sign up for like, hey, give up on dieting and just keep getting fatter and fatter? Like, it's sad to think about. So fast forward to 2014, I was hit by a distracted driver in my car. It was horrible. I ended up with a undiagnosed brain injury. I had crush injuries to my legs, chronic pain syndrome. And so over the next year and a half after that, I became sicker and sicker and sicker. I gained more and more weight. My highest weight was 220 pounds, at least that I was on the scale, because after I started keto, I was afraid to step on the scale. And out of sheer desperation, 172 doctor's visits that could not help me at all, I started a ketogenic diet as a way to try to help heal my brain injury. I didn't know what was in store for me. I secretly started it because, again, I'd been trained that diets were going to make everybody have an eating disorder and just gain more weight. And so I secretly started it. And within days, it was the most life-transforming experience I'd ever had. Now, what I did was I took everything I'd ever studied about the way the brain works for cravings and appetite regulation and behavior change, as well as optimal nutrition and the way that my brain works and breaking things down into step-by-step processes. I threw everything at it, my kitchen sink approach to my keto approach, because I was so sure I was going to fail. I was a terrible dieter in the past, everyone. I don't know if any of you identify this. Let me know. But I could never stick with a diet for more than usually it was like 2 meals. I think the best one I had was like a couple of weeks. But I wasn't good at sticking with diets because I always felt so hungry and miserable and tired and irritable. And so I was not a very good dieter. But I was so desperate to get keto to work for me that I just threw everything at it. And it was wonderful because that approach made all the difference. Everything I'd ever studied up to that point, throw it all together, and it ended up being a really, really amazing transformation just within a few days. So the first 6 months of keto, I lost 60 pounds. And here we are. I'm over 5 years, about 5.5 years into my keto journey at this point. And 100% of what I do now in my practice is help women. Occasionally a few men slip in there, but mostly women that are 40 plus on their journey to long-term sustainable weight loss. Like, that is my goal. I just had a new group of peer support coaches come on for my support for my clients. And one of them asked me, like, what is my big mission? What is my goal? And so I realized, like, I've never actually put it into words before, but my mission in life is to help women, especially women, get off the diet roller coaster, get off the yo-yo dieting, so that they can be free of being obsessed about food. They can actually lose weight and achieve a healthy body and feel love and compassion for themselves, actually love and appreciate themselves, and stop obsessing about food, stop hating themselves, stop feeling guilty, and just finally truly feel happiness and peace with their body and mind. So that's my big mission in life. That's what fuels me. That's what gets me going. And that's why I'm here to share this with you today. So again, if you're just joining us and you haven't chimed in already, share with us where you're joining from. And again, I'll just reset, because we have people that are going to be joining this whole time. So we've identified 4 different type of people that are here. So one is so these are 4 different kinds of stuck. One stuck is I'm overwhelmed. I don't even know where to start with keto. Number 2 stuck is that I've had some success, but I've reached a plateau. I'm stuck with what to do next. Number 3 stuck is the oops keto. Oops, I lost my motivation. I fell back into old habits. I started to regain weight. I'm stuck because I don't know how to get my motivation back. And then number 4 is things have been going really well for me and I'm just ready to up level it. I'm stuck as to how to up level my keto to get to the, boost my fat loss. So that's a lot of those people I'm seeing are a lot of my current clients, actually. They're here for that booster shot of keto success. So, so next I was going to share with you how this program came to be. Some of you may be familiar with me. I was on one of Jimmy Moore's podcasts about 2 years ago now because I was doing a trial of protocol that Dr. Ted Naiman actually had put out there into the keto sphere. So I was on his podcast because I gave it a try. I love to figure out how to make things a step-by-step thing that people can implement, right? Because there's a lot of protocols out there. It can be really confusing and overwhelming. And so I took that. I applied it to myself. I always like to try things first for myself to figure it out. And then I created that program. So we've got Deb Kinney 10, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, excellent. I said you can be a combination, so that's perfect. And Katie from Delaware is a number 3. So that's the oops, where's my motivation? I'm stuck, how to get my motivation back. Excellent. All right, so this program again, it was kind of a challenge, right? So Jimmy Moore, and at the time it was John not Melansky. What's his last name? Lemansky. It is Lemansky. John Lemansky was on, I don't think the podcast is going anymore, but a couple years ago they had the podcast. And, I've back when we could go to conferences and things like that, I met John on Low Carb Cruise. And so I heard them put out this challenge to see if people could do this experiment where it's a very high protein protocol and to see if it affected ketosis, if it helped accelerate weight loss and all of that. And so I took the challenge of I'm going to try this. Let's see how this works because I'm a big fan of Dr. Ted Naiman's work. And this was a protocol I'd heard him speak about as well. And so I tried it myself. And in 6 weeks, I lost 15 pounds. And actually at that point, it took me to a new low, lower than I ever got in my first 6 months of keto. And it was okay, I put my spin on this. I've created a formula, a template. And then it allowed me to create some meal plans as well to go with this. And so I was on their podcast as a guest, sharing my experience. And there's definitely a lot I've learned in this. And so last year we ran this program 3 times. Again, I told you my short fingers, it makes it look like I have more fingers raised, but we ran it 3 times last year. And that also allowed us to, each time we had about 20 people in each group that we ran it. And it allowed us to figure out a lot of different things about how to do this optimally, how for me to help coach people through this process. So again, I've got my regular keto approach that's designed to be this long-term sustainable keto. It's a very comprehensive program that I do with my clients. And it's meant to take them from starter to living keto as a long-term lifestyle. This Get Unstuck program is a shorter 6-week, I think of it as like a sprint. It can be a good place for those number 1 people. It can be a good place to get started. But it's also specifically designed for people that are already started on keto and they just need that extra booster shot of huge motivation. How do I break through a plateau? How do I take things to the next level? And so that's, the backstory on how this program is and what it's designed specifically to do. So let's see, I should have a question in there. So I don't know what to ask, but yeah, again, if you're just joining us, I can see the numbers increasing for the number of people. If you're just joining us, share with us where you're joining from. And again, I'll reset if those of you that are just joining, we've identified 4 different types of people that this Get Unstuck program that I've designed is really good for working with. And again, running it 3 times last year, we've figured out how to help people in an amazing way with this too. So Number one, get unstuck. Okay, so let's just quiz everyone. Number one stuck is never done keto. How do I do it? I'm overwhelmed. Help me. Number two, plateau. Been doing keto, I'm stuck. I've maybe been stuck there 6 months, a year, or I'm just been here a month. How do I lose the next 5, 10, 15, 20 pounds? How do I get going? Number three, unstuck is how do I get my motivation back? I'm stuck with how to get motivated again. I started slipping off. Quarantine, all that other words we're not supposed to say now to cue trigger words. Oops, where's my motivation? And then number four is just up level. Like, I think I've got keto figured out. I'm just ready to rock it to a whole new level. So the level 4, I kind of think of as, I use this analogy with my coaches this morning, is it's like you're doing really well. You're healthy, you're fit, but you want to push yourself to the next level of like, I want to train for an Ironman, or I want to train for a marathon, or I want to do one of those Tough Mudder things. Like, that's a number 4, is that like, I've got a solid foundation with keto. I'm ready to push it to the next level. So, okay. So that's, I've told you who this is for, like 4 times, right? We talked a little bit about my backstory, how I got into this, my credentials and training. We talked about how this program came to be and the success. Oh, I didn't even share like success we had with it last year. So let me just kind of tease some of that. Really, really fun success. It's been such a fun program to watch and see the big transformations of people. So, for example, Kate last year, she reported it was the first time in her life that she was not obsessed with food anymore, and she was down 2 clothing sizes. And Cindy, she enrolled in the program last year because she wanted to get to her go white by her son's wedding. This was back when, we could go places and stuff like that. But so she said, she's had great success, but she'd had about 9 pounds at the end of her goal that she just couldn't seem to get off. And so this, and let's see, the first week she lost 3.5 pounds. So this is somebody that had been stuck for probably more. Yeah, more than a year. I'm reading the details here. So she was stuck for more than a year, still having 9 pounds to loss. And within the first week, she was down 3.5 pounds. So this is a really powerful protocol and technique. So that's why it's so fun to run. Beth Ann, in the first 10 days, she lost 10 pounds. She said, my frustrations had my weight going in the opposite direction. So what does that make her? That's like a number 3. So the timing of the program was perfect. And she said, actually, this is the fun part, is that she said she was saving money. So my programs are all about just eating real, simple food. You don't need to buy a bunch of no products or supplements or anything like that. So most people end up saving more money than they invest in it too. So that's what she was saying. She's saving more money on food than she was before. Carmen finally unstuck after 5 months of being stuck with 7 or 8 pounds, or being stuck. Anyway, stuck at the same weight. She lost between 6 to 8 pounds in just the first 2 weeks. And then Penny, she says, I've been talking about taking off the last 15 pounds for over a year. This is just what I needed. 4 pounds gone in the first week. And, so those are just some examples. I've got lots more. So can you understand why I'm so excited about this program? It's really, really, really fun. So right now, like, what are your biggest, so share with me right now, like, as you're watching this, like, what are your biggest concerns about, like, there's going to be concerns that people have about, like, well, like the top ones that people are going to have. Do I have enough time to do this? Like, how much time is it going to take me? Will this work for me? Here's my special circumstances. Will this work for me? I'm afraid I'm a different snowflake and it won't work for me. So tell me now, like, what are your top, like worries about, like, is this something that's a good fit for me? Based on these circumstances. So we've talked about the 4 types of people, but tell me a little bit more about your specific concerns, and I will make sure that I share what those are. So, so at this point, usually when people are stuck for any of the 4 reasons, there's a ton of different things that go through your mind. And if you start trying to search online, how many of you have gone down the rabbit hole of, like, Well, this thing says I should do more of that, and this should more protein, less protein, more fat, less fat. I should do intermittent fasting. Maybe I should fast for longer. Maybe I shouldn't fast as much. Maybe I should eat more frequently. Maybe I need more salt, potassium. Maybe my electrolytes are out of balance. And the more research you try to do on your own, the more your head wants to explode because you don't even know where to get started with. So how's that sound familiar? Okay, so Deb Kinney 10, how much time is needed to monitor macros? Excellent. Yeah, this is an example of like, let's figure all these things out. That's what I'm here for today, is just to answer any and all, questions concerned, will this work for me type of things for you all. So how much time is needed to monitor macros? And so absolutely essential during this program to measure, weigh, and track your food. So that's one of the biggest pitfalls I find that people, either try to start keto on their own and or like after they've been doing keto quite a while, is that just they are guesstimating how much they're eating and they really don't know what they really are eating. And so that's usually a big wake up moment for a lot of clients, is like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize that eggs had carbs in them, or, that coffee had carbs in them. And so the amount of time, it really shouldn't be a very much time. So I would estimate like, a couple of minutes each time you eat. And Deb, so my clients have found like, one universal rule is that tracking, and included in the program is premium food tracking software too. So, but what my clients have found is it ends up being essential that you put your food in your tracker before you eat it. So whether that's like the night before and you just plan out what you're going to have the next day, or right before each meal you're planning it out, it's essential then that you put that into the tracker before you eat it. And so if you do it all at once, like for example, the night before, if you're going to plan the next day, that's going to take a little bit more time because you're planning out an entire day. Also, some people like to plan out their entire week. And so I'm gonna say that probably 2 minutes a meal is probably what's going to be needed. And the nice thing is that so in the beginning is going to be the longest amount of time. And then as you get going, the software remembers what foods you have, and you're going to start repeating meals and things like that. And so it ends up getting faster and faster as you get more comfortable with the software. So, so probably 5 minutes a day. Okay. So 5 minutes a day. And the nice thing is that one of my things is fast and easy meals. And that's also in this Get Unstuck program, is that I want you preparing things that take you 5 or 10 minutes or less. So you're going to be saving time over most every other keto program out there has you do these really complicated recipes, and you've got to do a planning and shopping and prep and all this kind of stuff that ends up taking more time than what you're doing now. My approach to keto is let's make it take the same time or less than what you're already spending right now. So Deb, that's what's going to happen, is that because you're saving so much time on actual food prep, the amount of time it takes to track and monitor macros, overall, you're still going to be spending less time than you are now in figuring out what to eat. So let me know if that answers that, or if you have any follow-up questions to that for sure. So Breanna says, large amounts of fat terrifies me. Yes. Yeah, excellent question. We have been, part of what I get to do day in and day out in my coaching of my clients is we get to unravel, and everything we've been telling people pretty much for the last 40 years is like, oops, we accidentally told you the opposite of what we should have been telling you, right? So think about all the most common nutrition stuff that we all been following. Breanna, I don't know how old you are, but I just turned 50, and I remember in the 80s making fun of my mom for cooking with bacon grease and thinking like, oh my God, that's so gross. Like you need to have fat-free everything, right? It turns out that there was only this one blip of time that we were told like low fat was best for us. So, and also Breanna, there's also misconceptions about like how much fat you need. Okay. So a lot of the misconceptions out there in the world, and a lot of people that aren't getting very much good success or long-term success on keto are consuming way too much fat. So the amount of fat really isn't like the huge amounts of fats that you think. And also this is a really cool thing. I did a recent client, oh man, I can't remember her name right now. I'll just call her Nicole. She was worried about that as well. So what I did, I took a dietary analysis, and I took, one of my week's meal plans, and I compared that to a standard American diet where people are eating only about 2,000 calories a day. And it turns out that the grams of fat in my meal plan on this well-formulated ketogenic diet was actually about the same as what somebody eats when they're eating a standard American diet. Okay. So it's a myth that we're eating lots and lots of fat. I'm not having anybody like put tons of fat in their coffee and chug fat, eat fat, and all that kind of stuff. So that ends up being kind of a misconception about what keto is. So it's going to be something like, a steak with broccoli and you put some butter on your broccoli. Okay. So, or you have, chicken thigh with the skin on it, maybe a side of asparagus, and a small salad with salad dressing on it. Okay, so it's not the giant amounts of fat that people assume, and that's actually one of the biggest errors that people make in trying to do keto on their own, is that they think they need to chug coffee with lots of butter in it, and they need to, force in more fat and get more fat in. That ends up being a misconception. But also the cool thing is, Breanna, is this specific program, this Get Unstuck program, we're actually doing sprints of regular keto, which is a more moderate fat, and we're doing 3 days a week of very low fat. Okay. So if you're afraid of fat, this probably is going to be the best starter program for you, because about approximately half of the week, we're not even doing high fat, we're doing low fat. So the average is actually over the whole week, you're going to be eating less fat than you are now. So let me know, Breanna, if that answers your question, if you have any follow-up questions to that as well. And okay, so Michelle says, will I be able to maintain this program once the country opens up and I start eating out at friends and in restaurants again? Yes. Excellent. Yeah. Thank you, Michelle. And I love the optimistic outlook too, that like someday we get to return to normal too. So absolutely. I am a big like eat out at restaurants type of person. And now so again, this program is going to be a combination of sprint days. So I call them fat loss accelerator days. So 3 days a week, we're going to be doing this fat loss accelerator technique, which is very specific, targeted, high protein, very low fat approach. Those days are going to be trickier to eat out at restaurants at, but we get 4 days a week that are regular keto. And it is so easy to eat almost any restaurant or at friend's house with the regular keto days. So very, very easy. So if let's assume in the next 6 weeks, things go back to normal. What I would recommend then is that, you take those 4 days, and like, if you have something coming up, one of your 4 days regular keto is one of the days you're going to be eating at restaurants or at a friend's house. You have flexibility every single week. You get to pick which day the 3 fat loss accelerator days are on and which days the 4 regular keto days are on. So yes. Now keep in mind that, let me just, put a little asterisk here about this, is that this program is meant to be done as a 6-week sprint. And then after that 6 weeks, I want people going back to like a regular base keto. But the nice thing is that this program is going to teach you my basic keto formula. Again, those 4 days a week that you're doing regular keto, I teach you how to do that in this program. So that is something that you can maintain indefinitely. The fat loss accelerator technique is not something that should be done indefinitely. And in the program, I go into all the reasons why that is. And, part of it psychologically, part of it is nutrient wise. But again, the part of what you learn about the regular keto days is something you definitely can continue on indefinitely too. So, yeah. And in fact, this is a fun little story, Michelle, is that one of my ladies a couple of years ago, Betsy, she started my core program, which basically teaches you how to do that regular keto day in and day out. She started my program right before she was going to go on vacation for 2 weeks solid, traveling all over the United States. And again, this was 2 years ago. Things were different then, but she started the program and she had the same worry about like, oh my gosh, like, how am I going to be able to do this if I'm not at home? And most diets out there, you have to be planning and prepping and spending a lot of time cooking and all that kind of stuff. So, so Betsy started the program and traveled exclusively for 2 weeks, followed the program, eating at restaurants and friends' houses the whole time. And she came back and checked her weight when she got back, and she'd lost 8 pounds. 8 pounds. Wait. Oh, there we go. 8 pounds. Like, what are my numbers? 8 pounds in 2 weeks. Whereas normally, how many of you have gone on vacation and you get back in the scales up? So anyways, yes, totally doable in restaurants. Very, very easy. And part of that is because I teach you a formula to follow. So every meal you're going to have a template, whereas every other diet plan out there, you have to eat exactly these foods in this order and on these days in order for everything to work out. Whereas mine is each meal is modular, and I teach you that formula. So let me know, Michelle, if that answers that question. If you have any follow-up questions. Carol is here. My namesake here, Carol from SoCal. Carb creep is a problem. Okay, up 5 pounds. Yes. Okay. I'm glad you're back here to learn about this then, Carol. So I'm going to give you probably a number 3 a little bit. So somewhere between a 2 and a 3, 2.5. How about that? So, carb creep coming back. So things like the scale starting to creep back up and you're ready to like turn that around. But also that could be a 4. You're just ready to up level your keto approach. Needs chronometer configured again. Okay. Yes. That's included as part of this program, as well as the professional food tracking software. So here's a question from Miss Bindi Boop. Ooh, that's a fun one. Number 3. So that's the stuck because I need to get my motivation back. I've been living in the garage for 2 years. I have limited access to kitchen. Keto got too difficult. Okay. Yeah. So I know that there's a way of doing keto where you don't even have to cook anything too. So it's going to involve like buying pre-cooked things or things like pre-sliced cheese and luncheon meats, hard-boiled eggs, things like that. You absolutely can do keto without cooking anything at all. So yeah, glad you're here. Miss Bindi Boop. That's a fun name. And Deb Kenny 10, I've used Chronometer app. How does your tracking software differ? So I actually use Chronometer, but I use the professional version of that. So I don't know what you've used before, but they actually have a version of it that's for healthcare professionals. So that's what I use. So everyone who goes through this program is under my umbrella, and I have access to all of your accounts, so I can go in and do chronometer reviews, food tracking, logging reviews, and things like that too. So yes, chronometer is the best. And Super Shep 76, meal prep, myself versus the rest of the family. My little ones like carbs. I find that I make 2 meals, one for kids and husband, and another keto-friendly meal for myself. Yeah, so that's being the sole cook in the family, that ends up taking a little bit more time. The nice thing is, I don't know how picky your family is. And so that depends on what kind of approach, if you have to make completely separate meals. But the nice thing is that kids are born with a fat tooth more than they are, fat tooth and a sweet tooth. So how many of you ever had the experience of, little kids like stealing pats of butter and you're like, stop eating the butter. It's so bad for you. But it turns out it's actually good for them. So for the most part, husbands and kids and spouses, the regular keto days, especially that high fat version, usually that tastes so good and so satisfying. It's not that hard to get people to want to eat that. And so, a steak with butter on it and, a side of veggies. I don't know how friendly with veggies your kids are. Add butter on top of that or a cheese sauce. Usually, most kids will eat broccoli if you put enough cheese on it. And so that ends up being, very amicable and enjoyable for the whole family. A lot of my clients then will make some kind of a carby side dish for, the kids or the husband if they're not going to completely join you, right? So for example, you could have burger night where you have cheese and bacon and avocado on the burger. And, for you do a lettuce wrap, and for the rest of the family, they have regular buns or something like that. So it's very easy to modify that way. Now the fat loss accelerator days, and just in this program specifically, those fat loss accelerator days are going to be a little more, challenging to get other people on board. So you probably are going to find that you are going to be doing separate things, but you could also, so for example, on your fat loss accelerator day, you may be having chicken breasts, and for you, and then maybe you make a high fat sauce on the side, and for you, you're just going to have a little tiny bit of that, and then the rest of the family can have a lot of that fatty sauce and a carb side. So there's ways of modifying it, and that's something that's really nice about this program, is that I'm doing weekly live coaching calls. And so any of that kind of stuff where you need help with brainstorming about, okay, how do I figure out meals for my whole family? Like, I got you. Long before I did keto stuff, I actually specialized in helping families transition their kids into eating healthier foods. And it's actually, a slow, gradual process too. So I've got a lot of ideas and experience with helping families and brainstorming meal ideas and things like that. How do we help this fit? So to save you time, because I know most of the ladies I'm working with, Super Chef, if you're like most of the people that I work with, then you're the one who's wearing all the hats in the family and you're trying to take care of everyone. And so, we'll help you help yourself, take care of yourself too. So let me know if that answers that. Any other follow-up questions? Breanna's got a thumbs up. So what else? What other, that's a nice, I'm going to take a drink of my sparkling water. What other, concerns, any other specific questions you have about, like, is this right for me? I'm concerned about these things. What examples are there? So, and I'll just, we'll see if any more of those questions come in there. And, so let's see, let me just go into what's next. Again, sharing some more success stories. I shared a little bit of, how fun this program is because of the really quick success. Again, for all the people getting unstuck. Here's some more examples. So, Marianne, she said, thanks for the program. Patience is not one of my virtues, so having a tool to break stalls is a fantastic aid in staying on track. Yeah, so that reminds me too. So this is a great, once you have this program, you maintain access to the training materials for lifetime. So, and I'll tell you what's included in just a moment here, but you retain access to this. So this ends up being a tool in your keto tool belt, right? So someday down the road, you get unstuck on here and you drop the next 5 to 15 pounds or more. And then down the road, 6 months from now, when you get stuck again, you can pull this approach back out and you could do another 6-week thing on your own if you wanted to. So you've got this as a tool. It's designed to be, the Fat Loss Accelerator is meant to be something you can plug in to boost fat loss whenever you need it. So this is meant to teach you a technique that you can use whenever you need it. So it's not only this 6-week program, but this then is a technique that you can pull out in the future as well. So it's not just a meal plan program and then you're on your own again. So that's so Jason also, so here's another, this is, like I said, I mostly work with women, but once in a while a guy slips in. So Jason, in his first 3 weeks, he lost 25 pounds. Now, we know that men typically have an easier time. They lose weight a little bit faster. But even if you're looking at like half that amount of weight in that period of time, so that's still pretty significant results. And he says that I'm someone that does well if you tell me exactly what to do. So this is perfect. Can't say enough good things. Okay, so Christy's got another question here. Do you help make adjustments if we are hungry? Yes, Christy. Yeah, thank you for asking that too. I'm a really big fan of figuring out how to do this without the typical diet side effects, which is feeling hungry and irritable and obsessed with food. And so so Christy, I forgot where you're at on your journey. Have you ever done keto before? Or I'm trying to look back through the comments here and figure out, Christy. Let's see. I don't remember. I'm not seeing it here real quickly. So let me know if you've ever done keto or not. So, so typically, if you've never done keto or if you're somebody who's fallen off track, it will take you the first 3 to 5 days to get into ketosis, and your body will tell you you're hungrier in those first 3 to 5 days until you get to ketosis. If you've never been in ketosis, if you've been in it for quite a while, okay, so Christy's saying she's done it before but didn't know what she's doing. So yeah, so the first 3 to 5 days is just getting into ketosis, and your body, because it wants you to keep eating carbs, it kind of tricks you and it feels like a false hunger. And it's actually just because your body's hungry for carbs. It's not hungry in general. So I like, especially for somebody's first time getting it right, and even in this approach, is to emphasize the fact that like your protein foods, you kind of have unlimited amounts of those too. So always reassuring yourself. So part of it is eating in a way that makes sure you're not actually physically hungry. And then the other side of it is the mindset part. So I was just talking with my coaches this morning on our coaches call about how deprivation, the feeling deprived, is actually because you're focusing on the wrong thing. So when we focus on what we can't have, we're in victim mode. I can't have this, I can't have this, and all you're doing is thinking about what you're not eating. That feels like deprivation. That's what triggers deprivation. When we focus on what we're gaining and the results and, looking at the long-term thing, that is going to feel empowering and you're not going to feel deprived, right? So for example, imagine again, like you decide you want to be Oprah Winfrey and train for a marathon. Is anybody old enough to remember when Oprah did her first marathon, or I think her only one? Is that in the moment, things feel hard and frustrating. But you look at the long-term goal, like, oh, but this is going to get me to the point where I'm able to run this marathon. And because this is a 6-week program where it's a short period, those deprivation things, we can continue course correct and make sure that we're focusing on the long-term and or also the short-term, how we're feeling in the moment, to help us move away from that deprivation mindset. So again, that hunger can come from two places. One is focusing on the wrong thing, the deprivation mindset. And then the other thing is actually not eating in a way that helps activate your satiety and deactivate hunger. So yes, absolutely. Totally. That's a big, I know there are some approaches out there that tell you like being hungry is just part of it. And so deal with it. No, I got you on that one. And definitely, that's something that, there's multiple angles of that, and we'll be supporting you on that too. So, okay. So that was just Christy saying, yeah, she didn't, train it on her own, but didn't know what she was doing. So, and let's see. So Kim also, tried, this is some more client success testimonials too. So just stories I think are, give you good examples, because I can tell you things, but also hearing it from other people who've gone through it, it's going to be more meaningful to you, I think. So Kim, I tried keto on my own and lost some, but was stuck for 3 years. After working with Carol, she was down 20 pounds, 3 inches off her waist, 4 inches off her hip. So much easier than I was trying on my own, and best investment of my life. So that was Kim. So let me now transition into sharing with you what's all included, what the nuts and bolts of this look like, so you know what you get. So again, this is the Get Unstuck program. It is a 6-week program. When you enroll, you get immediate access to the digital content. So you're going to get the initial training video and the meal plans and shopping list, and actually access to the past recording calls of the Q&A calls. So you can get a head start. And also enrollment in the private Facebook group. So the program officially starts next Monday on January 11th. That's when the coaching calls start and the official start. But the sooner you enroll, the sooner you can actually get started with the program. And so technically, like if you started now, you could get 7 weeks of support instead of just 6 weeks. Okay. So what all's included is for motivation and accountability, we got you, right? Because I know people that come to me, they want to know the how. Tell me what to do. But they also want to know, like, step by step. How do I start with this and make it easy? And what do I do step by step? Okay. People also want motivation, like keep me going when the one day that the scale doesn't do what I want, like help me keep going. I want to keep my head in the game, right? So that was our number 3 people, was the motivation part. Accountability, right? So there's a lot of part of what makes this program so exciting is that we're all doing it together at the same time. I do this too with you guys, okay? So it makes it really, really fun and exciting. And so you get the accountability, right? Because we're all doing this together. It's positive peer pressure. And we've got the food tracker that's included as well. So professional level of chronometer, that's accountability. So let's see. And the community. So that's another reason why people come, to a program like this, or they work with me, is they want that community. I don't want to feel like I'm alone. I'm the only person in my house or the person I know that's doing keto. Also, it's pretty hard to do. Like this, again, is like an accelerator, a sprint type program. It's pretty intensive, and it can be really hard to stick with something like that when you're trying to do it all by yourself. Probably most people in your household are not going to be doing this along with you. And if they're eating other blah, blah, blahs like on the side, it's going to be, if you were doing this all by yourself, if you just have this program with no support and no other live people with you, your rate of success would be really low. So that's the 5 things I see of like why people would want have worked with me and continue to work with me. So as far as like how do you get that motivation and accountability? So we've got weekly Q&A calls with me. So coaching, motivation, accountability, support, community. You're going to get all those. We do those on Zoom. So we get to see each other. Everybody gets to talk and interact. So unlike this, where I'm just reading your comments, we do these on Zoom. So they're every single week. Let me share the time with you just because I know some people are going to have questions about that. They're going to be on Mondays again, starting January 11th, 2021. It's going to be 2 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Mountain, 4 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Eastern time zone. And if you can't make it live, do not worry at all because the recordings will be available to you as well. You can submit your questions by email and you'll have immediate access to the recordings of those afterwards. And I'll answer any and all questions that people have on those too. So my coaching call commitment to people is that I stay on as long as people have questions. So unlike some programs out there where there's just so many people and people, only 3 people get their questions answered. My approach is I'm there and I'm supporting and I'm answering any and all questions that you have. So anything. So for example, Super Shep's questions about like, how do I feed my family and myself at the same time? Michelle's questions about eating at restaurants and things like that. All of those are things that, how do I adjust my macros? Can you look at my food logs? All those things. And also just very specific questions that you have personally. All of those are answered on our Q&A calls. And again, the recordings of those. So if you miss a call, you can't be there live, no worries. You're going to have access to the recordings of those. We have a private Facebook group. So for those of you that are Facebook people, Facebook group. So that's where you're also going to be able to hang out with the community. You're going to be able to share ideas and wins and successes and troubleshooting and all that kind of stuff. So you'll have that, 24/7 for the 6 weeks of the program. And again, the sooner you join, you get a bonus extra time hanging out with everybody. The other thing that's going to be included is this exclusive fat loss accelerator technique. This is a big deal. And so in the course material, so again, as soon as you enroll, you get access to the digital content right away, which is going to be, there is a initial training video. It's the Fat Loss Accelerator training technique. So that's going to teach you, it's me teaching you the protocol, which is 3 days of the Fat Loss Accelerator technique, 4 days a week of regular keto. And I teach you all about how to do that, how to calculate your macros, and just basically set the stage of what's the protocol for the next 6 weeks. And also then you get immediate access to shopping list and meal plans. Now I've got some example meal plans in there. And also on the coaching calls, we can actually work with like, how do we fine tune and adjust those just for you too? I've got a master food fat loss accelerator shopping list. So basically for those 3 fat loss accelerator days, there's a shopping list of like, here are some ideas of foods that are going to fit with this really easily to help you create your own meal plans if you want to do that. And then I've got the meal planning template too to help you, create and modify your own meal plan. So some of you are meal planners, you like to do that. Some of you just tell me exactly what to eat. I'll eat exactly that. But also, I'll be there to help guide you too. If there's certain things on the meal plans that are foods you don't eat or you don't like, no problem. We can adjust and fine tune that as well too. So again, 6 weeks of Q&A calls with me and the rest of the people on Zoom. So again, we get to see each other and interact and talk. Recordings of the calls, Facebook group, the digital content, which is then the training course, the meal plan, shopping list, template, master foods list. And yeah, so that's all of the content. So let me know right now what questions you have about what's included, how any of this works. And then after that, I'll just share with you the enrollment page. Michelle, can you briefly explain macros for beginners? Okay, yeah. So for those of you that like, what the heck is macros? Macros is a word in the keto world that we use. It's actually short for macronutrients. And so in nutrition, we have things that we have macronutrients and micronutrients. So macronutrients are protein, fats, carbs. And then micronutrients are vitamins and minerals, so things we need in small doses. So macronutrients, thank you for asking that. So macros basically are where we tell you how much protein a day you should eat, how many grams of carbs you can have, and how much fat you can have. So don't worry if all that feels really overwhelming. I did promise that this is a good starter program as well. The first training video is going to explain it briefly to you, but then also I'll be there to help answer any and all questions that you have more specifically about how to implement that for you too. So so macros, again, like proteins, fats, and carbs. So basically like what you're going to be eating on a daily basis. So one of the things that makes keto unique and special is that it matters. Like one of the primary things is that you need to keep carbohydrate foods really low, extremely low. Fat then is used as a way of filling up the rest of the calories that we need. And then protein, we need to eat a certain amount every day to meet our needs as humans. So basically, macros are going to be a way of saying like, we're going to help you determine for you specifically how much protein you should eat each day, how much a little bit of vegetables are going to fit your carbohydrates macro, and then how to determine how much fat you should have. So let me know if that makes sense, Michelle, and if you have any follow-up questions on that. Christy, do you have something to offer us after the 6 weeks if we need to continue or maintain? Yeah, absolutely. So one of the cool things I do is that for those of you that are interested in, more, because again, this is meant to be like a get started quick, get lots of results or booster program. But for those of you that are looking at like, I need more long-term help with like, how do I do this keto lifestyle as a long-term sustainable thing now? My core course ends up being like the next step that I would have people go through. And for anybody that actually goes through this this Get Unstuck program, I let you apply your full purchase price of the Get Unstuck program towards the other program. So it ends up being like a really, really good deal. And also this experience of working with me for 6 months is like a starter, like, well, let's see how much you like it, how much you get out of it too. So yeah, there's definitely something afterwards. And then even after that, we've got a long-term membership for ongoing support, because that ends up being one of the most important things for sustainability, is staying plugged into the community and staying consistent with that. So yeah, absolutely. All right, let me know. I'm going to share right now. I'm going to share the enrollment page. What did I promise? Because I know I've got the first 5 people can get a 30-minute one-on-one VIP call with me, and that itself is like nearly a $400 value. So we can use this for whatever you want. So I've just posted, oh boy, let's see. It's going to let me, I just posted it on YouTube, and I don't think anybody's watching from YouTube. Oh no, there's a few people on YouTube. So I just posted it in the comments on YouTube, the enrollment page. I'm going to post it on my Facebook page. I don't know how many of you are watching from there. I think a few of you are. There we go. So I just posted it also on my Facebook business page. So for some reason, if anybody's watching from the Keto Lifestyle Facebook group, this platform is not letting me post it right now in there. So I will go post it afterwards. But also, if you got the invite from email, the link is in there as well. And then I'm just going to, again, for those of you in the group, hang tight. I will post a link in there after we're done here live. Let me just really quickly show you what that page looks like that I shared too. And again, we've got less than, a little bit more than 6 days left to join. We start up officially. Here we go. I'm going to share my screen. And this is what it looks like. Get unstuck on keto. Here's a lot of what I talked about here. So are you tired of being stuck? Kind of well, here's the 3 that I identified, and then the 4 is going to be the booster, keto booster. The different questions you may be asking yourself. You tried to figure it out. You're frustrated. How do I get unstuck now? I've got the client testimonials that I was reading to you on here. Here's what the 6-week program includes. Some visuals of that, motivation category, the exclusive fat loss accelerator technique, some more success stories. And I've got 2 different enrollment options for you all. And if you need something budget-friendly payment, I've got a 3-payment plan here, the $197 on the left, most popular, pay in full and save. And that saves you almost $100 by just paying in full if you're able to do that too. So the buttons are live on that page. So those of you that are ready to grab that, again, the first 5 spots are going to get a 30-minute one-on-one 30-minute call with me, video Zoom, for a booster there. And Carol, so one of the people on here I know has already done the program. So Carol, for people that have gone through this program before, like, send me an email separately, because I've got like a special, you guys get a special enrollment deal on that because you've already got the course content. You just get to re-enroll and join the 6-week of coaching for that accountability and support and motivation, the excitement that goes along with that. So if you're interested in that, Carol, let me know. Send me an email and I'll send you the special link to that one. So Christy wants to be one of the first. Yay! Excellent. Well, here's a spoiler alert. I already have 2 people that have enrolled over the weekend because they enrolled just from the email that I sent. Oh, Christy, yeah. So she's got a call with me tomorrow. So yeah, definitely. I will process that, or actually, we can still have the call tomorrow if you want. So let's talk about it on that too. So, excellent. So yeah, so if you know you want to be one of the first, then grab a spot in the link that I've sent. But also, Christy, if you want to wait and we can chat tomorrow about like what's the best option. If you want to do this program and the other one too, let's actually wait. So I will hold that for you, Christy, if we decide that this program is a better fit than the other one. I will hold one of those 5 spots for you, but also we may figure out that the other program might be more of what you need right now. So let me know. So hold off on enrolling in this Get Unstuck, and we'll chat more personally tomorrow too. So, all right. All right, everyone. I have a next appointment I've got to get to talk to one of my clients who's just graduating our fast track program. And so Jen wants to know, is there anything we can do prior to starting the Unstuck program? You can actually get going. So definitely, as soon as you get your spot in there, go through the material. So watch the training video, go shopping. There's going to be special for protein powder that you may want to order and things like that too. So kind of like basically your prep that you're going to do. I'd also recommend, you've been through my core program. So I would do a week of just basic regular keto, like phase 1 type of keto is what I'd recommend for this interim week for you. So back to basics, we call it. So, all right, everyone, I'm going to run. Please, so these chats will be still live, so you can keep popping your questions in there, and I'll come back. And I'm going to come back a couple more times this week and just see if there's any more questions for people that couldn't be here live today and things like that too. So keep up the questions going. I'll be back soon. Thank you so much for being here, and hopefully we'll see you very soon. Bye now.